For ages, people have been searching for the fountain of youth. But did you know that the answer has been inside you all along? Dr. Asa Andrews has written this great book called Empowering Your Health. And in it, he gives you the great keys to living a long and healthy life. Stay tuned for Babbie's House. It's coming up right now.
Possibility at Babbie's house, Babbie's house. Everybody is family. Welcome to Babbie's house.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Babbie's house. I'm your host, Babbie Mason, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. I have a great guest on the show today, Dr. Asa Andrews. He's a medical doctor as well as an author, and he's written a great book called Empowering Your Health. And if you've been looking for the keys to getting well or the answer to staying well, you've come to the right place. Dr. Asa Andrews and I will be having a great discussion about his book, Empowering Your Health, and about how you can live a long and healthy life. Stay tuned. You're going to meet him in just a moment. But right now, I want to encourage your heart. I want to encourage your spiritual heart. And you know that affects your life. If your heart is encouraged, then you'll feel great. And this song is called What Can Separate You from the Love of God?
His love reached from the heavens to the far ends of the earth to give you life forever. He left no stone unturned, and before the birth of time, Jesus had you on his mind, so you never need to question his concern. So what can separate you from the precious love of God? Who could ever come against his strong and perfect love? So when you're in the valley and your nights are cold and lonely, the darkest hour is just before the door. Remember, nothing can separate you from God's love. He numbers each and every star, and he calls them all by name. He counts them one by one and sees that they are still in place. If he cares for every star, then he sees right where you are. You can trust you'll never fall from his embrace. So what can separate you from the precious love of God? Who could ever come against his strong and perfect love? So when you're in the valley and your nights are cold and lonely, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. Remember, nothing can separate you, neither pain nor sorrow, not today and not tomorrow. Nothing past and nothing present, nothing future, nothing ever. Oh, remember, nothing separate you from the precious love of God. Remember, nothing can ever come against His strong and perfect love. So when you're in the valley and your nights are cold and lonely, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. Remember, nothing, absolutely nothing. Oh, remember, nothing can separate you from God's love. Nothing can separate you from God's love.
I wanted to help. I just didn't know where to begin.
I wanted to do something, but what did I have to offer?
I can only help at certain times.
Volunteer? Nah, not me.
I wanted to include my family.
I found it on the internet.
It's cool.
Now we can volunteer together.
I do have something to give.
If you have diabetes, here are a few things to keep in mind. Know the name of your medicine, how much you should take and when, and how it can affect the other medicines you're taking, including your birth control. Ask your doctor to explain any side effects like headache, upset stomach, weight gain, or dizziness. Work with your doctor, nurse, or pharmacist to make a plan to use your medicine safely. For more information on diabetes medicines, go to fda.gov/women's diabetes.
When you start with Rotary, good things happen. Rotary is ordinary people working together to clean the environment, stop disease, and accomplish other extraordinary things. Learn more at Rotary.org.
In the fight against cancer, doctors need the most powerful weapons possible. And today, doctors are talking about what might be the most important weapon of all: the food we eat.
How's your veggie burger?
Great. How's your salad?
Looks super.
Fruits, vegetables, and high-fiber vegetarian foods can help prevent cancer and other health risks. Visit cancerproject.org or call 866-906-WELL for a free booklet to find out more.
Welcome back to the show. I'm really happy to introduce you to a medical doctor, Dr. Asa Andrews, and he has written a great book called Empowering Your Health: Overcome Genetics, Look and Feel Younger, Finally Take Control of Your Health. Let's welcome to Babbie's house, Dr. Asa Andrews.
Great to be here.
So glad to have you, sir.
Always great to be here with you.
Yes, glad to have you. You know, you and I were talking off camera about, the mentality in America is that we often look for this magic bullet.
We do.
You know, we're looking for the
be-all,
the magic bullet, the silver bullet.
All of it,
the thing that, that one thing that's going to cure all,
That's right.
be the end all and the cure all for everything. And actually the answer is inside our bodies.
It's inside, and that's the way God designed us. I mean, He put everything inside of our body that we need to function at a high level. It's just up to us to make sure that we put the right foods in, that we exercise on a regular basis, breathe clean air, get proper rest, avoid stress. I mean, all our lifestyle choices really comes down to us. So a lot of people just want to live how they want to live and take the one liquid vitamin that's hot right now, or the pill or whatever, and think everything's going to be okay. And that's not the way our body works. Yeah.
Talk to me, you mentioned one of the first things on that list is foods. We're living in a culture of fast food,
Yes.
of overproduced foods, foods that are manufactured, that are not real foods.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people, particularly those that live in urban centers, don't really have access to a grocery store so what are some ways that we can get our hands on real healthy foods that have not been over-processed or fast foods or manufactured?
Things are changing right now, Babbie. They really are. And for people that live in difficult areas, I mean, with the wave of the internet, now there are organic farms that are actually shipping product right to people's doorstep. So that's one thing that's really great. So a lot of organic raw dairy farmers and for the good healthy meats, the organic meats that are out there, you can actually get them shipped. I mean, there's different farms out there. You can look them up online. That's another great way to do it. So if you don't have full access to some of the better grocery stores, I guess, that have more options, then that's another way to do it. But I mean, there's some basics that you can do regardless of where you are, and you don't have to go organic on everything. I mean, my goodness, if you can just get off of fried chicken and go to baked chicken, if you can just get off French fries and start eating more broccoli, these kind of little steps that we can take every single day matter, and you start putting these little deposits into our health account, and you'll look back.
I like that.
Yeah, you put it because we're bankrupt right now. I mean, we can talk about being bankrupt in the economy and that sort of thing, but really we're bankrupt in our health. And if you lose your health, you begin to lose everything.
Yes.
Because you can get your money back.
Okay. But you can't get your life back, can you?
That's right. Once you start losing the health, it's important because you want to be everything you can for your kids, your grandkids, your coworkers, your loved ones, and that's what God really has for us. So really we have to take care of this temple, this gift that He's given us, and what we eat. My granny told me, she was 94 when she passed and went home with the Lord. She told me this. She said, Asa, she said, you are what you eat. And I used to hear that when I was a little kid and think, oh, she's just saying that. But the reality is, the more I've learned, especially going through all the medical training, I realize this, that we really are. Those simple steps we can take every single day can really just pour into that bank account I talk about and make us very wealthy.
Talk to me about diabetes. This is one of the major, it's like an epidemic in our country, even right down to our young people, our kids. How does diabetes happen? And what is it?
Okay.
Let's start there, and then we'll talk about how we can avoid getting it.
Right, and diabetes has almost become an epidemic, as much as obesity or being overweight in this country. Years ago, the statistic was in 2010, 1 out of 3 of our young people under the age of 11 will be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now think about that for a second. 1 out of 3 under the age of 11. That's staggering. And so right now, with people dealing with weight issues and people dealing with diabetes, they go hand in hand for so many people. And what happens is we eat the wrong kind of foods, processed foods, carbohydrates mostly. So you've got things like frozen dinners, you've got your donuts and your bagels, anything that's processed that man messes with, okay? Those kind of carbohydrates make our blood sugar levels go really high. So here's kind of the way that it works. So you eat a bagel, for example, nothing else with it in the morning. So you eat a bagel and your blood sugar begins to spike. The pancreas, it's a little gland that we have, secretes a hormone called insulin. So it shoots out the insulin to bring the blood sugar back down. As that happens, if you do that day in and day out, 3-4 meals a day, you're eating donuts and bagels and processed food and fast food and French fries, then finally your body gets to a point where it just says, I can't do this anymore, I'm worn out. And so the pancreas begins to just kind of say, I'm done. And that's when insulin stops being produced as much. Our receptor sites, we have these little receptor sites, think of them as almost like little suction cups. And when the insulin comes out, it catches it. They get kind of tired and worn out too. So when somebody gets diagnosed with diabetes, one of the first medications they're given is metformin or glucophage, and that's kind of the first step that most physicians will do. What that does, it starts cleaning off the receptors so the body can utilize the insulin again. But if you really step back and look at it, it's a lifestyle created illness or health challenge, as I like to call it. Because a challenge is something you can overcome.
That's right.
Right, so it's one of those things that happens. But think about this, if a child gets it type 2, which it used to be called adult onset diabetes, we don't even call that anymore because kids are getting it at 10.
Yes.
So think about this, a child has been eating that poorly up to the age of 10. Are there some genetic factors? A little bit, but not as much as with type 1. So that means the diet had to be pretty rough on that child for at 10 to get type 2 diabetes. So is it the child's fault?
Probably not.
Probably not. And we're not pointing fingers, but at the end of the day, as parents, we have to take responsibility. And I believe for kids, more than anything, that if we take responsibility and start teaching our kids how to eat, if we live it ourselves, and then we can pass it down to our kids, it's one of the greatest health legacies we could ever leave. And we want to teach them to be responsible, to love God, to love people, to be responsible financially. We need to start teaching our kids with their health. And I think with diabetes, that's one thing that we're not doing. So as parents, we can learn to take the responsibility for ourselves, teach it to our kids. So to go back to diabetes for just a second, one of the challenges is if you can radically change someone's diet that has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, literally it's one of the top health challenges that can be reversed.
Yeah.
So there's a blood test called the hemoglobin A1C, all right? The A1C is kind of the marker, the benchmark, if you will, that a lot of doctors use to figure out if someone has diabetes or not. Now, right now, the range, it changes, and they're always updating the ranges, but right now it's about 6.5. So if your A1C is 6.5 or over, and you have a blood sugar over 126, 2 consecutive testings in a row, then the diagnosis typically will be diabetes, okay, or pre-diabetes. It's kind of on that borderline.
Sure.
So, sometimes they'll start with metformin, sometimes they won't. Some doctors are progressive enough to say, if they trust the patient, they'll say, you know what, let's work on your diet for 8 weeks, see if it makes a difference, and then we'll come back and reevaluate. So, I guess what I'm saying more than anything is the power lies so many times in our hands.
Yes.
That, I believe that more than anything, if we can lifestyle our way into getting sick, like diabetes, that literally if we can make the changes, because God's given us that ability. He gave us the greatest gift is the power to choose.
Yes.
And the one thing we lose so many times is hope, and we think it's over. We get a diagnosis, we put a chain around our neck,
and we just
give up. Say, oh, and this is my favorite. It's my diabetes, my heart disease, my cholesterol.
We own it, don't we?
We own it. Your car, your dog, your husband, your wife, whatever. Those are good things to say mine. But my diabetes, and we begin to
we don't want to own that.
We don't want to own that.
No.
We want to get rid of that real fast.
Right.
So we want to take that chain off and say, you know what? I'm dealing with a health challenge called diabetes, but I'm coming out.
Yeah.
And so if you get to a place where you can come in, make the right kind of lifestyle changes, literally you can come out of these situations. But it's about knowing.
Yes.
It's the know to, so you can have the want to and the how to.
And let me put this out there too. My husband, I was telling you a little bit about my husband. He's a good old country boy who loves to garden. And my mom is a great gardener too in her mid-80s.
Wow.
And gardening is not that difficult.
Right.
You can even have a container garden where you can grow in a pot beautiful tomatoes or cucumbers or bell peppers, enough to put into a salad.
Right.
And you have never tasted something so good as a homegrown tomato.
Right.
And a matter of fact, I never even liked tomatoes until I tasted one of my husband's homegrown tomatoes.
And they're unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
They taste so good, right?
So I got to give a shout out to our first lady who has, given us this mentality of getting our hands in the dirt and, planting a few seeds and see what happens.
Right.
And the kids love it as well. Kids love to garden.
You can teach them how to do that.
Yes.
And it's something they can do. I mean, my grandmother did it, my parents did it, so it's something that I grew up around. And you can definitely tell a difference between foods that come out of the garden and the ones from the stores. You really can. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about diabetes. Let's talk a little bit about high blood pressure.
Okay.
Talk to us about what it is and how we can avoid it.
High blood pressure is a tricky one. It really is. Now, diabetes, high blood pressure, totally different animals, but blood pressure does have a strong genetic component to it. And so it is lifestyle, but you can find someone that's very thin that has high blood pressure and someone that's overweight as well. So it's a little bit tricky. But with blood pressure, obviously there's involvement of the kidneys and also with the vessels within the heart. And one of the big challenges is that I always want to tell people, because they call the radio show every single night with me, and I get phone calls constantly about high blood pressure. People don't want to take their medicine. That's the one thing. It's like, I don't want to take my high blood pressure medication. And I'm telling you right now,
because
if your doctor...
they feel good.
Yeah, I feel good. Why do I need to take this? If it's 126 over 85, they're thinking, well, it's close enough. I don't need to take my meds. I'm telling you right now, if your doctor put you on high blood pressure medication, it is so important for you to take it until you can get your lifestyle to a point where you don't need it. But they are the ones that need to tell you that. And I'm as much of a natural guy. I will find my specialty of what I love to study and that sort of thing are the natural ways of being healthy. Nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, I love all of that. So if there's a way, naturally, your doctor will help you find it. But I'm real big on that. So with blood pressure, there's some keys out there that can be really helpful. Now, as far as exercise go, a little secret is actually getting on a rebounder and doing a mini trampoline. So the little small trampolines, there's one by urbanrebounder.com. It's just, I don't get an endorsement from them. It's just one that I've used for a long time, told a lot of people about, and they're great because they don't ever break down. And they can handle, if you're overweight or whatever, they can handle a lot. So these rebounders, 5 minutes a day up to 20 minutes a day, are amazing. Literally, Harvard did a study on this, and they found that blood pressure would dramatically go down by this one exercise. It creates a pumping mechanism.
Wow.
So when you just bounce up and down, you can watch your favorite TV show, football game, whatever. Bouncing up and down on the mini trampoline literally can make a huge difference in your blood pressure. There are supplements out there that can help. L-citrulline is an amino acid. L-arginine is an amino acid. Those two together combine what's called nitric oxide. And this NO2, there was actually a Nobel Prize study done based around this research, and they found that it's tough to make a claim just to say, well, this lowers blood pressure, but it definitely helps support it. We do know that. So there's some great options out there for people that are struggling with it, but exercise is a key.
Listen, we're going to take a break in just a moment, but before we go to break, I want folks to know how they can contact you, Dr. Andrew, and tell us about your radio show. Give us your website.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. The website is AskDrAsa.com. You can go there and check it out. And also the radio show is on Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. to midnight. You got to check your local listings. Go to the website, AskDrAsa.com, and you can find that. And you can call me anytime you want to. The 800 number's there. When I'm on live, you call me, and I'm here for you.
Dr. Asa Andrew. We're going to come back after this break and talk more with him, so don't go away. Stay with me. After this break, we're coming right back.
When it's time for lunch, a sandwich is a quick and easy choice. And with the right ingredients, it can be good and good for you. So I'm here today to see who can build the ultimate sandwich. All right, when the time is up, our judges will give you their scores. Ready, set, go! Okay, Jason starts out with a multi-grain roll. Ooh, Allison stuffing her pita with, yes, spinach, a great source of iron. Jason isn't skipping on the protein, adding plenty of smoked turkey, just like Allison's putting the finishing touches with crispy red bell peppers for a dose of vitamin A. Time! It looks like we have a tie. We'll need to call in our special guest referee.
Now, these are what I call quick, delicious lunches. Whole grain breads, a whole variety of ingredients. There are so many different ways to build delicious, healthy sandwiches. These two get high marks in every category. I'd say you're both winners. America.
Let's get healthy together.
For years, scientists have explored remote corners of the Earth, searching for exotic substances that might help prevent cancer. At last, man has discovered a secret place where powerful remedies can actually be found. Medical research shows that a vegetarian diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help prevent many types of cancer. Wherever you live, cancer prevention is as close as your grocery store. To learn more, call 866-906-WELL.
Go red. You wear it, now feel it. Go red. Put your hand on your heart and make a promise to be heart healthy. Go red. Take a moment and go red in your own fashion. Go red. Love your heart. Learn how. Join the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
Hey, thanks for coming back. I'm Babbie Mason, the host of Babbie's House, and I'm sitting here today talking with Dr. Asa Andrew. And Dr. Andrew has written a great book called Empowering Your Health. Overcome genetics, look and feel younger, finally take control of your health. In our first segment, we're talking about some of those things that many of us are fighting, like diabetes or high blood pressure, and how we can identify those, how we can prevent those things. Dr. Andrew has been telling us all in this last segment that a lot of these things are preventable. Things like high blood pressure and diabetes, heart disease are preventable. And a lot of this starts in the kitchen. This prevention
in the kitchen, which is what we're going to talk about right now.
So talk about some of the stuff we have out here.
There's some things we can all do. I mean, a lot of people get overwhelmed. You start talking about organic. If you're sitting here right now and you've never done anything to change your health, but you know that you've been diagnosed with something which has kind of got you all freaked out now, and you're saying, I need to make some changes. So I have no clue what to do. We're going to talk about some of that right now. And these are some basic keys. So I am big on certain things being organic. One are eggs. Now, here's the deal with eggs. Eggs are one of the top cholesterol-lowering foods that we have. Now, they used to say no eggs, right? No, don't eat the whole eggs.
Yeah, because like they were high in cholesterol.
High in cholesterol. They're going to make you have high cholesterol. That was back in the 50s, and we held on to that forever. Well, now the American Heart Association's come out and they've said, okay, 2 to 3 eggs a day, whole eggs, are actually good for heart health. So they've kind of done some more studies. It is news. And then there's, of course, then there'll be another study comes out that says no, no, no. So you've got people that contradict, but the American Heart Association, a lot of docs really go with that, so I would kind of stick with it. Now, organic eggs, you pay about $1 extra more, which is not that big of a deal.
It's worth it.
It's worth it because, remember, our bodies don't know the difference between junk food and good food. It doesn't know the difference. So whatever you put your hand to, put in your body, that's all the body can take to make raw materials to make either good, new, healthy cells or bad junk cells. So we control that, okay? The body will use what it takes. So eggs,
what is the difference in an organic egg? What's the principle?
It's the chickens.
Okay.
So the chickens are, when they say free range, cage free, they're out running around like they used to in the grass, and they're not getting pumped full of steroids and antibiotics and that sort of thing, which a lot of the standard eggs are. They put them in these little cages, they pump them full of drugs, and they're pumping out the eggs. And remember, whatever goes into that chicken is coming into our body if you eat the egg. Cage-free, organic-free, best way to go, because remember, it's the way nature, the way God intended everything to be.
Sure.
So
we're almost out of time, so I want you to kind of highlight things like gluten-free flour and green tea.
I'll go through these real quick, Babbie. Okay, so coconut oil is really good, the best oil to cook with. Butter's very good too. It has incredible components in it. Green tea better than coffee because of what it does for our overall digestive tract, and it's very good as an antioxidant. If you're using any of the butters, I like the nut butters like cashew butter, also sunflower butter, and supplements are really important. I just want to hit on this for a second. Genetics have become a huge piece of our overall health, and what we found more than anything is there is testing now that we can do literally to find out our genetic blueprint of what's going on in our body. So more than blood work, you can figure out exactly what your body needs in a customized nutrition manner to fix all the weak links in our genetic structure.
Listen, so there is so much great information here.
I mean, we could keep going, but
we can, and I want people to get in contact with you and check out your website. So give that to us.
AskDrAsa.com. So if you want to go to the website, go to AskDrAsa.com. All of these things that Babbie and I are talking about, you can find there. You can also call me on my radio show every single night, 9 to midnight. You call the 800 number that's at the website, and I'd love to talk with you.
Listen, thank you so very much for coming by Babbie's house. A pleasure having you today. And as always, it's a pleasure having you as my very special guest. Will you do me a favor? If you miss any of this information, contact me at Babbie.com, B-A-B-B-I-E, Babbie.com, and I'll get you in contact with Dr. Asa. Thanks again for being my very special guest, and I pray that today has motivated you and even encouraged you to, be reminded that your body is the temple of the Lord. That's right. You can get well. Well, thanks again for being my guest, and we'll talk to you later here on Babbie's House. Bye-bye for now.